Okay, hopefully a little bit quicker question here, or quicker video. What percentage of the transportation, this is the answer that I'm going to do, and I'll go through and post this all in the discussion board and show you all the flow of that. What percentage of transportation contract dollars went to Wisconsin-based contractors compared to out-of-state contractors? I figured that out at 98.9% are Wisconsin versus 1.1% are non-Wisconsin. Um, so in terms of dollars, right? In terms of dollars. So if I wanted to get fancy with the way that I actually answer this question, I could say something like the overwhelming majority of contracts are awarded to Wisconsin-based companies, period. With 97.9% of overall contracts amounting to 98.9% of the total dollars spent, period. This is based on actually awarded contracts and does not include canceled or withdrawn contracts, period. So if I wanted to do that, if I wanted to answer that as part of my question, I could say, okay, what are the percentages? So 73 were canceled. There's 789 total projects. So now if I wanted to do how many of them were Wisconsin based, total projects, total awarded to Wisconsin, if I did that equal to the awarded to Wisconsin divided by total projects, 789, 88.8% equal to 15 divided by 789. B2, F2, non-Wisconsin, 15 divided by. This is E2 divided by B2. This is, 1.9% are awarded to non-Wisconsin. And then this would be canceled, equal to canceled divided by total number of contracts. So I could say, if I wanted to, when accounting for all contracts, 9.3%, 9.3% of contracts were canceled or withdrawn, period. And then if I wanted to, I could say that that led to 90.7% award rate, which is 100% minus 9.3, which would be 90.7 award rate. And then of that, 98.9% of the dollar values. So there's different ways to answer this. So that's now in your question, depending on what your question is, and admittedly that was a pretty easy one. Right here, if I wanted to answer, was new infrastructure spending more strongly associated with population growth than repair spending? All right, so in this case, I would need to do more data analysis, right? So in my data right here, it doesn't tell me if something is a new project or if it is a repair. So I would need to go in and try to mine out that data. We've already gone through and as you know how to get to a website and do the web data or scrape the web data, especially if you've done it in that um, the one assignment for SAP. So if you've already done the assignments for SAP, you know how to scrape the data based on that. So if we get into our research question here, new infrastructure spending versus more strong, or is it population growth more strongly associated with um, infrastructure spending, new infrastructure spending versus repair spending. So the way you could do that, you could go over here to your um, you could go over to the primary sources over here, and you could go to these sources. I'm uploading all of these to copyright, no issues found. We'll check the video for issues. We'll check. Okay. Next. Public. Everyone can watch your video. Anyone with the link can watch your video. I'll just do it as everybody. Okay. Close. Okay. So now they should get to, you can look at my skydiving videos if you want to, but this will get to that data right there. So that is the video that I just posted again online. So right here. Okay, so that gets you to this right here. So again, this is where it gets into, it's a PDF, and previously it asked me to download the PDF and save all of them and then give it to ChatGPT. So that's what I would want to do in this case, right? What it doesn't do here is tell me if something is new versus repair. And so not knowing that information, I would want to look through the remainder, some of these other ones, well, separately. So I would want to look through some of these other links here, some of these other primary sources, and see if I can find any data that says repair versus new. Project listings, statewide, interactive map. So I could click on all this stuff, and if I wanted to, I can go, this is all statewide, regions. I'm going to do Excel, save. If I open that up, so sometimes you don't even have to scrape the data. You just got to download the spreadsheet because it'll provide it for you. Okay, North Central, project limit, miles. Okay, resurface. So we can tell that everything is resurface by that, right? Culvert replacement, preservation. So I can go through and I can sort all of these to find out what the work type was, and determine whether or not it's a new project versus an old project. So in this case, construction local utility. So that's going to be a cost associated with the local utility for a mile. Yeah, that's associated with this project right here. So they're doing resurfacing and they have to construct it and do the utilities. And so they're doing 9 miles of surfacing and a mile of that. So I would assume that that's going to be a resurface. If I wanted to, I could go to filter and see if I can figure out what may stand for new. I got pretty lucky because the very first thing here says BR new. So I don't know if that means brand new, new bridge, new bridge, new bridge. So this would be my information here. So I can take all of this and break all of this down, and I'll get to a summary whenever I do my final posting and everything. I don't want to sit here and make y'all watch all this. Construction, I don't know what BRP, VTV. I could look these up and find out what they mean. This is construction overlay, so this is probably all just repair. And the only new stuff is going to be that one that said new. So my steps in this are to answer my question, population growth compared to new spending versus or new infrastructure versus old infrastructure. In this case, I downloaded all the projects. I don't know if that was for a specific year or 6-year highway improvement program. So I would want to read all this information, figure out what 6 years this represents, which you may get it in the summary here. I don't know. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So this is future looking, right? Statewide improvements by miles, statewide improvements, project count. And it doesn't break it down into new versus other. So anyways, you'd want to break down all this data, and again, I'll do all this so that I can post it in the discussion board. But my point being that you'll get a list of all of the contracts, figure out whether or not it was new or repair, and then once you have all of that, then what we can do is look up the census, the growth of the population for the state of Wisconsin, which is that third primary source there. If I look that up, population estimates, this is for APIs. I don't have API. And API is, if you do a lot of data search stuff, you can connect. You can do a background program that just connects to their data, and it'll automatically download everything for you. So in this case, I don't have an API key and all that kind of stuff. So, but I could go through here and I could find, that's the API calls. If I wanted to relate it, developed by the FTP server. To download full data sets, go to our FTP server. So here I could download everything. So I would need to figure out what I got to download, because that's a lot of downloading. So there is a lot of work behind this. You can speed all of this up with AI. So if you go to AI, and that question was new infrastructure spending more strongly associated with population growth than repair spending? So in ChatGPT, and I'll do another video here in just a second specific to ChatGPT, but we could just go and ask that question right here. Copy and paste that. Was new infrastructure spending more strongly associated with population growth than repair spending in the state of Wisconsin based on WISDOT data? and it'll give you an answer. So don't know what the answer is going to be just yet, but it may pop out something and say, I don't know, I can't figure this out, or here's where I got this from. You can click on the links, you can go verify stuff, and then you can make sure. So I'll do a separate video specific to ChatGPT or the AI stuff here in just a second. But this is how you would answer a question. So in my original question, I would, my initial thoughts would be that likely all of the contracts, it's going to be a very heavy percentage, more than 75% would have been my guess, are going to be Wisconsin-based companies. That would be my initial thoughts. The reason I would think that is because barriers to competition are low, meaning it's construction, so people can get into construction and out of construction pretty easy. Not that road repair is super easy to get into, but fundamentally, every state there's road repair in every state. So it's not like Boeing or Northrop Grumman or something like that, where they've only got one or two plants across the United States, and every airplane has to be made in a Boeing factory, and there's only 3 of them. It's not like that with roads. So construction, there's roads everywhere and there's companies everywhere. So that's why I would think it'd be that way. Then I answer the question, and then I tell why, and I can show the numbers here, right? So I could go through, and these are not complete numbers, by the way, because I would need to. I think I only pulled 1 year worth, 26 to 24. So I could say that this is just those. So I could say between the years of 24 and 26, this was the number of projects that were created. 73 were canceled, leaving 716 awarded, 701, 15. So therefore the 98%. Then I could plug this all into dollars, the total dollar value, if I wanted to copy total dollar value, canceled, don't know that number, awarded, we could go to equal to sum of this. Copy. Wisconsin equal to, here, equal to sum of this right here. Non-Wisconsin. Oops, I did that backwards. This is the non-Wisconsin. It's going to be equal to the Wisconsin amount. So we can do the exact same percentages here. So, and if you recall, I changed this, so it'd be by D2. So the awarded based on D2. And then what we would say is that there were 789 projects, 9.3% were canceled. Of what remained, 97.9% went to Wisconsin, 2.1% went to non-Wisconsin. That's in the number of contracts. If I do the exact same percentage equal to Wisconsin contract dollars divided by total awarded dollars, this is that same percentage. I'm just going to copy that. Equal to non-Wisconsin divided by total awarded, and do that as a percentage with 1 decimal point. And we still had 9.3% canceled. But of the total dollar value, we would, so this would be my answer, right? There were 789 total projects created. 9.3% of those were canceled. 97.9% were awarded to Wisconsin, and 2.1% were awarded to non-Wisconsin. In terms of dollars, 98.9% was awarded to Wisconsin versus 1.1%. Now, if I wanted to go further, I could figure out, okay, there were 701 Wisconsin contracts spread across that number of, or that dollar value. So if I wanted to, I could figure out the average equal to that divided by 701. And I could say that the average contract was 4.6 million. And then do the exact same thing right there. Here, the average contract was 2.4 million. So, and we could break that down into percentage equal to, well, first we would need to total contracts equal to that dollar value divided by that. So now if I want to go equal to Wisconsin divided by that, %. Oh, never mind. I wouldn't want to do it that way. Sorry. Yeah, that gives a weird percentage. But basically what I would want to say is I could give this as the answer, 97 and 2.1, 98 and 1.1, and say the average contract. What I could do is I could say the average contract value was 4.586 million. On average, Wisconsin contracts were slightly above that. And so that would be that percentage that I calculated. So this divided by this. And then if I did equal to this divided by this. So in general, out-of-state contractors were only paid about 50%. They got much smaller contracts versus Wisconsin. So all of that could go into my answer, and that would be the reason. That would be my reasoning why I answered the way I did. So that's how you can break that one down. I'm going to do another video on the chat, the AI stuff in just a second.